The story begins in Valencia City, where a bank manager is shown stuck in traffic. It's raining heavily, and on the radio, there's an announcement warning that a storm is approaching soon. Everyone is advised to stay safe. The bank manager calls a man and asks if her name is on the list of employees being laid off from the bank. The man replies that he doesn't have any information about that. The manager tells him, even if my name is on the list, don't tell anyone. Then she gets out of her car and reaches the bank. There, she instructs the staff to turn on the bank's security alarm. But she's told that due to heavy rain, the traffic is very bad, so most of the staff haven't arrived yet. The alarm will be activated once the staff arrive around noon. Once again, she calls the same man and asks, "Is my name on the list?" This time, he confirms, "Yes, your name is there." Hearing this, the manager becomes very upset. She has practically lost her job. Just then, a few masked men enter the bank. They are here to rob it. One of them has several bombs strapped to his body. And they take all the security staff at gunpoint. Among the robbers, there's one named Gallego. He and his partner enter the cabin where the bank manager is sitting. They tie her hands and feet and take her hostage. The robbers begin taking money from the bank vaults. They also use a machine to create a hole that connects to the underground drainage system, a possible escape route. The gang's leader, Tom, who is in the bank hall, has all the staff held at gunpoint by his men. Just then, he notices that one of the bank staff members presses the alarm button. Seeing this, Tom gets furious. He beats that person brutally and shouts, "I'll blow up this entire bank with bombs." Among the people inside, a woman pleads, "Please don't do this, my son is waiting for me at home." Tom then tells everyone, "You have 90 seconds to call your loved ones." Everyone starts calling their families. In truth, Tom is only trying to scare them. He doesn't actually intend to kill anyone. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the police station, where the officers receive the distress signal coming from the bank. They immediately realize something is wrong. A detective calls the bank, and one of the robbers answers the phone. The robber warns, "If you try to interfere with us, we'll kill all the employees here. Let us finish our work. In the meantime, arrange a car and a helicopter for our escape." The detective replies, "I can't make that decision myself. I'll have to talk to my senior officer." The robber says, "Fine. I'll wait for your answer." Meanwhile, Gallego informs Tom that the escape route through the drainage tunnel is completely flooded, because of the heavy rain. Tom decides to wait for 30 minutes for the water level to go down. Then Gallego goes to the bank manager. She tells him, "I've been fired from my job. But I can tell you about a locker that contains a secret that could change everything if it comes out. However, I'll only reveal it if you promise me a large share of the stolen money." Elsewhere, at a hospital, we see a politician lying in a coma. His wife sits beside him. Suddenly, she sees on the news that a robbery is taking place at the bank. Shocked and panicked, she calls Detective Julio and asks, "Is there really a robbery happening at the bank?" He replies, "I don't know anything about that." She then says, "There is a locker in that bank. And if that locker is opened, my husband will be in serious trouble." Detective Julio tells her not to worry. Then he calls a political officer and tells him everything that the politician's wife had said. Now the political officer realizes that he must protect that locker at any cost. No one should be able to open it. Meanwhile, Gallego is shown talking to the bank manager. She explains to him that a few years ago, a politician, the same one who is now in a coma, was involved in several major scams. A detective had uncovered all the information about his corruption. His government was about to collapse, and he was close to being sent to prison. So, to save himself, that leader collected all the data about his corrupt associates, other politicians involved in those scams, and stored everything on a hard drive. He then hid that hard drive inside a locker in this bank. She tells Gallego, "If you want me to tell you which locker it is, you'll have to give me something in return." Gallego gives her a few diamonds that he had stolen from the bank. In exchange, she reveals that the locker number is 314. Now Gallego is determined to get that hard drive at any cost. Outside the bank, the police have arrived and surrounded the entire area. When Tom learns this, he makes all the bank staff wear vests filled with bombs and warns, "If anyone tries to move from here, all of these will explode." Then all the gang members go down into the underground tunnel filled with water. But when one of them checks ahead, he sees that the water current is extremely strong. So, they all are forced to return back into the bank. Meanwhile, we see the political officer with a few other men. One of them reveals, the leader of the robbers inside, used to work for the intelligence agency. But now he works for money, taking private contracts from others. "I was the one who hired him. His mission was to get the hard drive from locker number 314 and hand it over to me." Hearing this, the officer's associates become very angry. because that hard drive could be used to blackmail them in the future. That means Tom already knew about the hard drive beforehand, and he went into the bank to retrieve it. Meanwhile, we are shown the entire gang inside the bank. Tom is very worried because the heavy rain has completely ruined their plan. He tells everyone that he already knew about the hard drive in that box, and as long as they have it, the police can't touch them. Someone had given him a contract to steal that hard drive from the box, and he was being paid well for it. Now one of their associates wants to know what's on the hard drive. So he connects it to a computer, which has a sort of puzzle. But he can't solve the puzzle, and as a result the entire hard drive gets formatted. The political officer then hires another man to solve the case. His name is Melizzo. Melizzo first meets the Tom and says, "I can get you out of here, but in return you must give me that hard drive." Tom accepts the deal. Melizzo says he needs some time and that they must follow his instructions. Cleverly, Melizzo replaces all the officers on site with his own people so that no one finds out about the hard drive or the mission. Meanwhile, Tom discovers that all the data on the hard drive has been formatted and he becomes very upset. Only they know this, but in any case they still have a way out. He only has to follow Melizzo's instructions. Melizzo's men move to the gate. Soon, Tom arrives there with his team. They bring along the bank manager as a hostage so the police won't attack. At this point Tom realizes that the other side intends to kill them all. Consequently, gunfire breaks out from both sides. During the gunfire, a bullet hits the bank manager in the hand. They take her inside, put her in a safe place, and then leave so she can be taken to the hospital. The police rescue her and bring her to the hospital. Meanwhile, all the gang members are once again trapped inside the bank. Afterwards, Tom calls Melizzo and says, "You didn't do well." Melizzo replies that they have no other way out and tells him to surrender to the police. Tom is bewildered, he sees his end approaching. He confides his feelings to Gallego. From their conversation we learn that they are not professional thieves, they are deeply in debt, and they decided to rob the bank to pay off that debt. Now they are all stuck. Tom realizes that the hard drive contains no data, only they know this. He calls Melizzo again and warns that if he does not arrange a secure escape for them, they will transfer whatever data is on the drive into the phones of all the hostages and circulate it worldwide. Doing so would expose the corrupt politicians and officers and send them to prison. Hearing this, Melizzo becomes worried too, because the hard drive contains evidence against him as well. He has long been allied with those same politicians. Melizzo then calls the political officer who hired him and tells him that the officer must personally speak to the gang leader and resolve the situation, otherwise they'll all end up behind bars. The political officer himself goes to meet the gang leader and Gallego and tells them to surrender to the police, promising, "I will get you out of jail quickly." But Gallego and Tom refuse. They say they don't want to go to jail. Instead, they want to leave the country with the money they stole. They warn him, "You'll have to help us, because we've already seen the videos on the hard drive, and you're in them too." Actually, both of them had assumed that the political officer had come there only because the hard drive contained evidence against him as well. The officer leaves the place and arranges a car to help them escape. Before helping them get out, he calls Tom once more and says, "Before I get you out of there, I want to see the videos." But Tom has no answer, because there are no videos at all. So he's forced to say, "I can't show you any videos." The officer immediately understands that they have no evidence. He informs his men, and they decide to go inside the bank and arrest everyone. The entire team enters the bank and captures everyone, but soon they realize that all of them are actually hostages. The robbers had swapped clothes with them, and no hostage was harmed. That's why, when the police arrived, the hostages didn't reveal the truth. By now, the rain had stopped for quite some time, and the water level in the tunnel below had dropped significantly. So, the robbers managed to flee easily with all the stolen money. After escaping, they divided the loot among themselves and went their separate ways. They also tipped off the media about the hard drive in the box and revealed that the police themselves had been involved in the negotiations with the robbers. Major political leaders were implicated, and evidence against them was contained in that hard drive. The press and media were abuzz with the story everywhere. The story ends here.